So we are going to start this project here, the Matisse Collage, and using our instruction paper and this demonstration, you will start this project today. So what we're going to do first is get the long black paper, and we're going to put our name first and last, room and grade on the back. And you can just do that with a regular pencil because in the right light you can kind of see it still just fine. So that's the back. I'm going to flip it over to the front, and then when my table is called, I'm going to choose 4 colors and 2 pieces of each color. So you can see here that I have 2 purple, 2 red, 2 orange, and 2 green. And I'm going to use these to work on the next few steps. So on the directions, it tells us to choose those 4, and I'm going to take 1 out of the pile. And then we're going to be using these to start with the gluing. So the first part is to take the 4 or 5 colors and repeat cutting 4 large boxy type shapes. So they're already kind of in large boxy type shapes, so rectangles or squares. But if you'd like to make, you know, maybe I want this one a little smaller, maybe I would like this one thinner, I could do that. You want to save all of your scraps in your envelope that you'll get. This is my envelope here. So I'm going to keep my scraps in there when I'm not using them. And if these are the 4 boxy type shapes I want, the next step is to then put glue on the back edge and start gluing those down. They can be straight or slanted, diagonal, vertical. They can overlap if you'd like that. So I'm overlapping that one so you can see what I mean by that. One in front of the other. And maybe this one's going to go here, and then this green one, to use up the space, I'm going to definitely go more vertical with that one. And that is your first step. So now what I'm going to do in step 4 in the directions, it says to use 4 medium-sized shapes and those same 3 or 4 colors, and we're going to be cutting out some shapes to go on top of these. So I've also given you a resource paper with some of Matisse's common shapes that he used. So starburst, splash, we have some spirals, zigzag lines, wavy lines, and then we have these that are directly from some of his artwork. So you can use any of these to do on here. So I'm going to start with one to show you. So how about I start with a starburst, and when I do this I still want to fill up the paper with the drawing. So if I'm making this my starburst, I'm still making it big enough to fill the page. Okay, and once I have that, I'm going to cut on that line, and again I'm going to save all these scraps, and I can just put those in my envelope as I... Okay, so as you can see, I've cut out 2 spirals, and if you do not cut out 2 pieces, it does not come out as a spiral. It's just a piece of paper cut like a spiral. So you can see if I glued that down, that does not look like a spiral, versus I have the positive shape and the negative shape. So choose which one you're going to keep. If you do not want to keep both, and stick the other one in your envelope. And again, we're going to decide where we want these later. So I might want this down at the bottom. And then I'm going to work on cutting out some more medium-sized shapes. Okay, you can see I've got a fair amount of medium-sized shapes now that I cut out. So this one kind of looks like that leaf shape. This is another shape, looks like maybe one of those half leaves. So you kind of want to lay it out where you want it. We're not gluing these down yet. We still have one more layer. Again, I'm saving all of these scraps because I may actually want to use those later. So the next step is to make some smaller shapes that will be glued on here as well. So again, I'm not gluing, but I'm going to lay them out as I work. So once I think I have finished cutting all my medium and small shapes out, you're going to lay it out and have the teacher come and check your work. If it's ready, you're going to start gluing all the pieces together, so you would have to take all this off, and it may change a little bit by the time we start gluing, but if I kind of dump that off, and then I'm going to start with those medium-sized shapes, so you could relay those down where you thought you had those, and if they move, that's okay, but lay those back where you had them so that you can kind of start knowing where to glue the big shapes, because the big shapes should go first before we add on all those small shapes. So I'm going to take a glue stick. Again, see the pencil on this, that's the back. And I'm going to put glue on that spiral on the side with the pencil. And then I'm going to lay that where I want it, pushing down so it sticks, and then I can go to the next one. If something is not sticking up like this, put some glue under it and hold it down, and then go ahead and move on to the next one. So remember, whatever side is the pencil should be the side with the glue stick. Okay, I've glued all my medium-sized shapes on. Now I have all these small ones up here that I need to now glue on. So I'm going to do that again. If you drew anything, remember the pencil should be on the back. And I like to do the same color to make sure I'm moving that around the page. You don't want all the greens in one spot or all the reds in one spot. Okay, now that I have glued all of these, if you would like to add more, go ahead and do that if you feel like you have too big of empty spaces. If not, this goes on the drying rack. If you do have any pieces going off the edge, like this one here, you're going to flip it over and trim that off. And then this can go on the drying rack to dry.